12:30.
Uh-oh.
We better start my last meeting on time.
Oh, answer the phone.
All right, so welcome to another meeting of the Rotary Club of Livermore. I have 1 week more at serving as your club president, and it's been an honor to do so. So I'm going to invite JR, would you be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Everybody else would put yourself on mute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, JR. So up next, Michael and Stu. Michael, do you have an introduction for today's?
I'm going to have to be solo here today because Stu is on vacation. So I'm going to try to do this by myself. And since it's your last meeting, we had to come up with a song that represents, you leaving down the trail. Okay, so let me try to do this. I'm going to push the right button. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen. Let me move this. Okay, I'll move this down here. Whoa, stop. See, I told you I was experienced. Okay. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Smiling until then. Who cares about clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet again.
Thank you very much, Stu and Michael. Another wonderful selection.
It was pre-62.
That's okay.
Yeah, Michael, it could have been worse.
All right, so today we have Paul Thompson sharing a thought for the day. Paul.
Thanks, Carolyn. Can you hear me, everybody? Yeah, okay. So before I mention the thought for the day, and please don't harass me for talking too long, I'll do my best to keep it short. I just have to share some good news, which I got about an hour or two ago. And the good news is, we're in the middle of a little raising fund campaign for Nepal and the COVID issue. Well, I've just had 2 committed donations, one for $5,000 from Topcon Positioning Systems, and another for $1,000, actually another $2,000 from 2 people, which when I consummate a certain deal will happen probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I can't tell you how this makes me feel. It feels really good that my initial goal of $5,000 to send over to the Kathmandu Midtown Club, we will exceed maybe by 100 or maybe even 200%. So anyway, so my thought for the day. I am 77 years old and I'm now faced with coming up with a thought of the day, something which hopefully maybe sounds reasonably thoughtful. At this point, after almost a year and a half of being under the throes of this COVID virus, I have begun to think more about time and how might I best use it. So time, what is it? It's the space between then and when. What do I do with it? Do I know what to do? Now, this can and probably will get a bit philosophical as well as personal, but this is supposed to be my thought of the day, so here goes. Let me start by quoting our 4-way test, our Rotary 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Now, implicit in all those words is the understanding that this is, whatever this is everything, is not just about me, it's about everyone, it's about all of us. We all respect this code of conduct, but it is a challenge and one which I always try to live up to personally, but I don't. This is not a confession, it's a fact. I understand that I am on a journey and that I am not alone. So we are all in this together. So to get back to my time theme, how is my time here to be beneficial? I always try to do my best. Really, says Paul, but do I? So I am ending with what a teacher friend of mine said to me in a moment of self-doubt after working hard on a project, when I said to her, I confessed really that I didn't think this project I'd done good enough. And she said to me, Paul, it's good enough, dear. That simple statement has sustained me through many times of my own self-doubt. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much, Paul. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing the good news about Nepal. And thank you very much for your philosophical and personal thought for the day. So thank you again to all of our meeting front line. Jeff Youngsma is once again our Zoom host. Tim Berry is our Spur reporter for the day. Alan Frank put together the AVs. David is monitoring the chat, and Don Wentz will be publishing the Spur. So I did not see any guests, visiting Rotarians or guests today. If there are any, if you could unmute yourself and help me out here. Okay. So seeing no guests, we'll move on. All right, so this is my final photo to show you from my walkabouts. And this is a picture that was taken just about a year ago. I'm not sure the parking lot looks any different at the GMHG Hotel, Good Hotel Management. Oh, I have I think it's GH, Good Hotel Management Group. But we'll say goodbye to that. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's only for us as Rotarians. I'm not making any other announcements about the future of that hotel. All right, Jay, if you want to just kind of share about the deadline for the demotion party.
I will do so. We have 100 reservations. That's the number we planned for. That's the number Joel and Mike and their happy band will be buying food for on Monday, their visit to Costco. There is no walk-in, no payment at the door. If you didn't sign up, if you didn't sign the waiver, if you didn't say you were going to wear a mask or be vaccinated, I hate to tell you, we ain't coming in. Jackie has hired goons to stand at the door, so be alarmed, be ready, okay? We hope you all will come have a wonderful time, but the sign-up deadline is Friday. If you don't sign up by Friday, it's not going to happen. We can make adjustments after Friday. The past presidents who I have been herding through preparation for this will meet this afternoon for a dress rehearsal. They're as giddy and frightened as teenage students, worrying that they will perform properly. Mike Thompson reminds me that half of the attraction of this event is to watch the players fall apart regularly. So we will practice both to professional level and we will practice falling apart in front of you. Some of us may wear our costumes today. That should be fun. We look forward to seeing you a week from today at Alden Lane at 5:30. Thank you.
All right, I look forward to seeing everybody, and recall that for this event only, because we were planning this prior to the state opening up, erring on the side of caution. The requirement is that everybody for the demotion party be vaccinated, and then we'll be moving into our future meetings that will have different regulations that will be following in the state. So if you need help making the reservations, I'm going to put Glenn on the spot. You can contact Glenn and he can get you the link and make sure that you can do that. So just remember then there will be no meeting on Zoom next Wednesday, June 30th. So if you log in to that link, there'll be nobody else. You'll be waiting a long time for the meeting host to start the meeting. All right, so Ken, I left this on here. Do you still have a call that you would like to make out for looking for a club service director?
Yeah, thanks, President Carolyn. Still haven't heard from anybody yet. So I know it's hard to raise your hand for something when you don't know exactly what you're signing up for. So just a little bit more background on what actually are the responsibilities of the club service director. Basically, this is the liaison between some different committees in the club and the board, right? So spur reporters, birthdays and anniversaries, thought for the day, the songsters, just kind of communicating between those folks and the board on what's going on and if we need help doing any of those kinds of things. So if that sounds like that would be fun for you, if you've always thought, wow, maybe that's the way I could do club service and give back, if that really cranks your gears there, send me an email, let me know. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Ken. And then just a reminder that on Saturday, July 17th is the district conference down in Gilroy at Gilroy Gardens. And it's an in-person event. You'll have an opportunity to enjoy the beautiful Gilroy Gardens and meet with fellow Rotarians. Registration is required for that event as well. So go to our Rotary Club homepage and you'll find the link to register for that. And we have a number of our club members who are participating, and Kathy Coyle will be honored at the lunch for receiving the district training award for the year, the Carolyn Schutz Training Award. So is there anybody, is Jennifer Tate with us today?
I am.
Okay, Jennifer, I know you had some good news or just news you wanted to share.
Well, I just feel a little guilty, Carolyn, because I managed to go the whole year without getting fined. And I somehow think I went Jay's whole year without getting fined too. So I figured it's time to come up, and Ken, you can wait till next June to find me. And I have a lot of different things to share, but I'll join the President's Club. And business-wise, in January, I had my 20th year of being in business. And I'm very grateful that despite a pandemic, I was able to keep my business open. And in fact, not only keep it open, but it's surprising what a pandemic does to people and realizing they should have their planning needs in order. It's been a little crazy to say the least. And very grateful my family as well. My oldest daughter, I forget if I ever got fined for this, but she graduated law school in May of 2019, graduated the California bar that fall, and she works for a nonprofit in Oakland called Legal Assistance for Seniors. And due to the pandemic, had the opportunity to take and pass the Massachusetts bar. So now she has some options. My other children doing well, despite COVID layoffs and interesting things like that. But and with that, because I would normally have been a sponsor for the rodeo parade, I would like to contribute the $500 I would have done for that to the lunch money fund. And I'm very grateful and appreciate the opportunity to publicly acknowledge my sins.
All right, well, thank you, Jennifer. I think you more than made up for not being fined yet. Thank you very much for joining the President's Club. Thank you for reallocating the funds you would have spent on the rodeo parade to the lunch money fund. We'll hear more about that later, and then that's going to give a good boost for going into Ken's year, so collectively we can continue to do good in the world. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so now I'm going to invite our esteemed treasurer to share some information about the generosity of this club.
Well, the esteemed treasurer couldn't show up, so you got me instead. Sorry. Thank you, Carolyn. And before I get started, I want to give you a heartfelt thank you for your term as president. I know I'm speaking personally, but I know I speak of the sentiment of pretty much everybody in the club that you've done just a spectacular job this year. And we really appreciate your leadership and efficiency and effectiveness and through all the hardships. So thank you so much. And Jennifer, you set the stage beautifully on what I'm about to say. So Carolyn asked me to do a little bit of a summary about the giving by all the club members to across the Rotary recipient universe, if you will. So, and the top level is that all of you have increased your already very generous Rotary giving between last year and this year. And so the two donut charts give some sense of how that's going. So last year, in total, club members donated approximately $99,000. You can see in the various colors how that was distributed. The key is at the bottom. So the olive is Rotary Club of Livermore, 13,000 last year. TRF Polio Plus, 16,000 last year, et cetera. 43.7 for the TRF annual, and around the donuts it goes. This year, because of the leadership shown in the handoff between Jay and Carolyn, we made an appeal that for you to provide some of the lunch money savings, the avoided costs that you've been enjoying in the absence of our meetings weekly. And that so was the lunch money initiative was born, and you responded just amazingly. And so our club giving has greatly exceeded that from last year. We're up to 122,000. And again, here's how it's distributed. Polio Plus, a little bit less than last year, more for the TRF annual. And here, this big burgundy piece, almost $52,000, which is $36,000, $37,000 more than last year, is where most of your lunch money contributions went. And so if we can drill down a little bit on that, next slide, please. So the lunch money initiative was extremely successful. And recall, we were quite concerned that we would not have a crab feed, and that was prophetic. We did not have a crab feed. We enjoy something like $30,000 or so in net income from that fundraiser, and we were worried how we were going to do without it. So with the lunch money fund, you've contributed $40,000 so far, and now I'm happy to say 40,500. Thank you, Jennifer. And maybe that'll shake loose some other donors who have been sitting on the fence. So we'd had 68 members that have contributed up till about last week, 62% of the club. The donations range from, if you look at all the donations given by a single donor, they range from a large of $6,000 down to a more modest of $25. The average was right around $580, which is interestingly what we had originally suggested. Now, if you compare that, well, how does $40,000 compare to something? Recall that we made about $32,000 in net income from the crab feed. So this $40,000 definitely filled that hole for us plus. So thanks again for that. But on the other hand, how much cost have you all avoided due to the 60 or so lunch meetings that we have not held? Well, in aggregate, the 110 members have avoided costs of about $94,000. So there's more opportunity there for those of you that have saved money from not going to the lunch meetings, and here's a way for you to step up if you'd like. So I would just like to say on behalf of the funds of the club and as the treasurer, it's a huge success. And a big heartfelt thank you to everybody who donated, and thank you so much. So happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
All right, were there any questions for Glenn on that? Thank you very much, Glenn, for putting that together. And thank you to all of our club members who have donated one way or another. There's so many times where we do a call for donations and our club members respond, whether that's the Interact basket auctions and everything that we've done this year. So I am very echo Glenn's expression of gratitude for that and for club members' generosity. Thank you very much. All right, so our next meeting will be on July 7th, and that's when Ken Perrine will be taking the reins and start his year as serving as being the proud club president of the Rotary Club of Livermore. So that will be on Wednesday, July 7th, and it will be on Zoom. So we will be back on Zoom on Wednesday, July 7th. So I'm just going to give kind of a review of this year now. So I am going to, I guess I need to be asked to get permission to share my screen. All right. Sure, I'm doing this. Oh, that's not the one I want to share. So if somebody can give me a thumbs up, Glenn, you're in it, that you can all see that, Ken. Yep, thank you. So our Rotary Club is stronger than COVID. And I think that has a lot to do with that we've been to, this club has been here for 74 years and counting. We'll be able to celebrate our 75th anniversary next year. So that'll be fun to do, and hopefully, and we should be able to do that in person and be able to really celebrate all of our contributions to the community. And you will recall that I shared this early on. Change has always been an essential part of Rotary's mission. We've had to change and adapt this year, and you've all done a wonderful job doing that. And we've been successful because our club we are people of action. People of action is a theme for Rotary, and we definitely meet that. And here we are, and I wasn't in this photo, but this was a club photo taken, and I think it was Jay's grandson that did this with his drone that captured this photo. You'll find it on our website as well. And I know we all look forward to being together. You can see some of the tall guys in the back. I think I see Jay in the back there. I know I see Paul. Tall Paul is definitely back there. So we look forward to being together. But unfortunately, we also had some sad goodbyes that we said this year to club members. And they were all really close together. And I think that these are people who all touched our hearts. Chief Ron Scott passed away last December. Bruce Shore in January. And I remember we had the fortune to have Bruce write some of his memories and expressions of gratitude before he passed away due to his illness. And John Gordon. And I know all of us have different places in our heart for all of these three wonderful and generous gentlemen, and we will miss them. And I was really grateful that John was able to do a member talk during this past year. And as I said, our club and collectively, we are people of action. And so as I reflected on this year and all of the things that we've been able to accomplish this year, it really has to do with all of the members of this club. So kind of the rest of what I really want to focus on are a lot of contributions of the members of this club. And I have the privilege and honor to recognize a few club members for some of our traditional club recognitions. And so I want to begin by sharing about the Rotarian of the Quarter for the first quarter of this year, for January through March, and that is Marianne Rosa. And Marianne really stepped up to the plate when she was challenged by the board of directors to really expand our club giving. And a big part of why we were able to do that this year was because of the generosity of club members through the lunch money fund. We weren't going to have the crab feed. How are we going to continue with our tradition of supporting teachers and supporting nonprofits throughout this year through our club grant making? And the club grant committee really stepped up to that challenge, and Marianne did a great job. So thank you very much, Marianne. And I'm very proud to recognize you as the Rotarian of the Quarter for January through March of this year. And then one of our new club members also stepped up in a big time, and that's Norm Bregman. And I think what we are recognizing Norm as Rotarian of the Quarter for this current quarter. And Norm really jumped in with both feet, got involved in going through the leadership training and really embraced the international efforts of Rotary. And we've had the honor of being able to recognize him as a Paul Harris Fellow, and he keeps adding Paul Harris Fellow +1, +2, +3, +4. It seems like every time we turn around, Norm's generosity is being appreciated and recognized. So thank you very much, Norm. Thank you for your inspiration to give until it feels good. Thank you, Norm. And a very special recognition goes to Bob Cowan, recipient of this year's John Shirley Award. And that is to recognize Bob's leadership with our READY program, and the leadership for more than a year, more than just this year, also past years. And recall that the READY program is the mentoring that we do with students at Junction Avenue Middle School, kids that really want to, maybe don't have all the resources available to take full advantage of their potential, and kids who really want to accomplish things academically and just need a little bit more support. This year, it was a challenge to do that remotely, but the READY team also stepped up to that challenge. And so thank you very much, Bob, for leading that team of volunteers and being inspirational for really this signature program within our club. Thank you very much, Bob. And we couldn't let this go with also recognizing our Rotarians of the Year. And we actually have 2 Rotarians that we are recognizing this year. And I'm sorry that Stu is not with us. And that is Michael Ferrucci and Stu Frazier, jointly sharing the recognition of the 2021 Rotarians of the Year for the Rotary Club of Livermore. And I think we've all enjoyed their talent and creativity for each of our meetings as they've led us in song. And it's a good thing that I put myself on mute, but I always sing along. They've done a wonderful job of making sure that we had songs that were thematic to our program, mini songs that were written after 1962 per my request, but some oldies but goodies as well. I think all of their songs have brought a smile to our face, and I think it kept that little feeling of what music does for you and making you feel good throughout the rest of the week when we join together with them. So thank you very much, Stu and Michael, and we look forward to hearing you in person again, along with our other songsters. So this is a virtual meeting, but you will all get plaques. And so if for all of those 5 Rotarians that were just recognized, you will receive your plaques at the demotion party next week if you're there. Otherwise, our David will be delivering them to you to your home. So thank you very much. One of the things that we've been that I'm very proud of our accomplishments this year is our support for Access Community Health. And we've done that in a couple different ways. We've done that through contributing our lunch money, a big chunk of our lunch money funds to the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Fund. Recall that we donated $9,300, which was then matched by, so doubled our contributions, and that went to support 6 nonprofit organizations that have been on the front line of COVID response for our community, and Access Community Health being one of those. And then also, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, through our global grant that we did, and we are contributing, it's over $74,000. Glenn or Pat could chime in right now. For
76,752.
That's 76,752. That's a large amount of money and has allowed Access to do continuing to do a lot of the good work that it does in our community. So for those of you who haven't seen this already, some of you hopefully many of you already had, I want to share the clip about Access Community Health that was part of our virtual rodeo parade. So hopefully I will do this correctly so that you can see the work that they've done and the work that we're supporting in the community.
Is our Access Community Health, another one of our partners.
Yeah, Access has been important to the community. I'm astonished how many people it serves. I'm pleased to see how it is growing. We help provide equipment to their dental branch 2 years ago. It was a big Rotary project, and we're very happy to go over and tour the facility. They had wonderful luck. They managed to get a space that had previously been a dentist's office. So they recovered lots of stuff, and it was good to see. They serve a very, very important demographic. So we're very, very proud to have them in the community.
Definitely. And recently we volunteered with a project for them,
yes, we did.
Delivering equipment to individuals throughout the Tri-Valley.
Right.
And that was just a very nice experience. I really enjoyed being a part of that. I had a good time doing it, and glad to be of service to that amazing community service.
Okay, guys, I guess we're ready to go to the next 2 acts.
Yes.
Hello from Access Community Health. Our board of directors and staff are truly honored to be this year's Community Service Award recipient and delighted to be part of this virtual rodeo parade. Access Community Health is a nonprofit community health center. Our mission is to provide quality, affordable, accessible, and compassionate healthcare services that promote the well-being of all members of our community. We've been serving the Tri-Valley since 1972, and today provide care for 15,000 area residents at our 5 locations in the Tri-Valley. That means 1 in 14 residents depend on Access for their health care. Our patients are your neighbors, your waiter, your grocer, your babysitter, and your friends. We are here for everybody who needs us, whenever they need us. Our patients are all ages, from newborns to seniors and everyone in between. We offer affordable care for families and individuals with very modest resources. In fact, 72% of our patients earn less than the poverty rate, which is just $26,200 for a family of 4. Our staff of 180 include physicians and nurse practitioners, dentists, nurses, mental health counselors, case managers, and many other health professionals. Together, we provide whole person care that supports wellness and focuses on preventative care and patient education. Our staff speak a multitude of languages, supporting the many languages and cultures reflected by the diversity among our patients. And we are here for every type of health need, with services in pediatrics, adult medicine, women's health, obstetrics, nutrition services, dental services, mental health counseling, acupuncture, and chiropractic care. And we support health needs in our community with health fairs, school-based counseling, and health education. We even provide assistance to people to help them apply for Medi-Cal coverage, CalFresh food assistance, covered California health plans, and other resources. Each year, our Access team provides more than 100,000 visits for all of these services. But this past year, of course, was very different. The Alameda County COVID-19 health emergency order came in mid-March of 2020, and we responded immediately to ensure that patients continued to have access to needed care. Within 48 hours, our Access team was up and running with telehealth services. We provide a telehealth visit for medical needs, mental health counseling, and even for dental care. We opened a special clean clinic for prenatal and childhood immunizations to ensure these essential services continue. We set up drive-through services for adult immunizations and A1C blood tests for patients with diabetes. Access staff called more than 6,000 of our most vulnerable seniors and patients with chronic illnesses to ensure they had access to food and medicine, and to check on how they were doing. Because patients who have hypertension couldn't come to our clinic for blood pressure checks, we started in-home monitoring services. A big shout out to all the Rotary volunteers for helping deliver nearly 300 blood pressure cuffs to patients. These patients are taking their blood pressure daily, and our staff are able to help them stay well by monitoring readings and calling patients as needed. To make COVID testing more available in the Tri-Valley, we opened outdoor drive-through and walk-up services in the parking lot at Asbury United Methodist Church in October. We tested 2,330 patients and community members from October through January, and continued to provide testing for anyone at our downtown Pleasanton site. Finally, the COVID vaccine became available. Access quickly set up drive-through and walk-up outdoor vaccination services at our Livermore and Pleasanton clinics. Our staff has given 14,000 doses of the vaccine, helping more than 7,000 people become immunized. And we are going out into our community to reach everyone age 12 and up with a vaccine at schools like Del Val Continuation School and Dublin High School, at workplaces, and at the Livermore Library. It has been a difficult journey, and we are proud, exhausted, and exhilarated. Thank you to everyone in the community for your support of Access Community Health. In our nearly 50 years of serving this community, never have we been up against the challenges of a pandemic. We are deeply grateful for your support and for this tremendous honor.
And we're back.
And we're back. Jay, you know what? That Access Health Group, they do amazing things in this community. I saw those little packages there on that table, those blood pressure cuffs, and I was lucky enough to deliver 3 rounds of those to individuals that needed them in the community. And, you know, it's a feel-good job, I tell you. I really enjoyed that. And I think I shared with you that years ago I needed to get a last-minute tetanus shot to be able to take my child on a field trip, and unable to get into the doctor in a quick and speedy fashion, so they were able to help me out. So again, the gift they give to this community, and I think you were saying how much their services spread in this community.
Yeah, they're a vital and necessary link to a surprisingly large percentage of people in the Valley. I was a little stunned when I saw how many people they treat a year. I want to say the number was like 30% of the population treatments given in a year, and that may or may not be right, but it was much larger than I thought. So I'm very proud that we support them and will continue to do so.
Oh yes, when they come to our Rotary and do presentations, and it's a feel good to know that we're out there helping them, you know, supporting their causes, because they do make a big difference.
Okay.
Definitely make a big difference.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that video and feel as proud as I do of our support of Access Community Health. I also am going to brag a little bit that it is a will be donating over $76,000 as part of the Area 4 Global Grant, but that could not have happened without our club. So, sometimes we can tip our hat to ourselves that as a club, because of our size and our generosity to RI, we have the largest share to contribute in district designated funds because of our giving to RI. And then also the leadership of our club members. Thank you very much, Pat Coyle, Jeff Youngsma, Glenn Kubiak, for taking the lead and making that happen. And really what a wonderful asset to have in our community. I think what Access Community Health provides, serving 1 in 14 members of our community. That's kind of a, look around and just count the number of faces on the screen here. That's a large percentage of our community. So thank you very much for all of you. Thank you to all of you who delivered the blood pressure cuff monitors as well. Let me make sure I go back to my right here, that I share my correct screen again, so we can be very proud of our efforts there. And really, we are a people of action, and I'm going to talk through. So, every week you've seen me on Zoom, being in, maybe you pin me, maybe you don't. I'm one of many, or you turn down your volume when I speak, but we have been able to have a successful year just because of the members of this club. There's a lot of people who work behind the scenes. Our board of directors, our executive committee, Jay Davis, as our past president, has been a wonderful mentor. And as we go through, as a wonderful leader, he let me step into place and would provide input just when needed and asked without interfering. I definitely appreciate all of that and his wise guidance throughout the year. Ken Perrine, not only in his role as president-elect, but also program chair. I think we can all collectively say that this past year on Zoom, we've had a number of wonderful programs and speakers, and that's been one of the advantages of meeting on Zoom. From all over the world and the country for sure. Glenn Kubiak does an outstanding job as our treasurer has for the past couple years, and has a really knack for being able to present our finances in a way that makes sense to everybody. And David Rounds, who didn't love receiving all of those emails in your inbox every Monday and Wednesday from David, and then in between as well, to reminding of us of all of our meetings. Our board of directors also, Sonia was our membership director and also served as our interim club service chair. She also led the membership committee. We'll see all those members a little bit later. Carol Garrick started as our club service director until kind of an illness required her to step out of that role. Joel Swanson has been our community service director, making sure that all those who wanted to volunteer, we've done a number of projects out at Sunflower Hill that we were able to do in an outside and safe and socially distanced manner. Keith Beck for our international service and all of our efforts there. Marianne Roja. Marianne, we'll see her name a lot on here as our youth service director, in addition to leading our club grants. So we were able to continue a lot of our work because of all of the board members. So besides the weekly meetings, then we had monthly board of director meetings as well. Also serving on our board, Jim Schmidt for major events. And Jim also always has a great perspective in all of our board meetings. Dennis O'Brien for vocational service and really heading up the RAVE project and a lot of mentoring out at Las Positas College, kept us connected with the college, coordinated some mentoring and kind of mock interviews with veterans at Las Positas College. Dennis serves our club well in that capacity. Pat McMiniman has been our director for the Rotary Foundation and all of our club giving. As you already saw that Glenn shared, our club is very generous for that. Kathy Coyle as our club trainer. You'll also see Kathy's name in multiple places here, keeping us up to date and making sure that we all know what we should be doing as leaders of the club. Splen Splendorio as our parliamentarian, as a member of the board, always has sage advice for us during board meetings, and will be our president-elect starting July 1st. And then we, more than just the board, we get to say thank you each week to everybody who's allowing us to have these Zoom meetings occur. Alan putting together the slide deck. Usually we all send our information on time, but not always. And Alan is able to slide in information at the last minute. Jeff Youngsma and Glenn Kubiak to be the Zoom hosts, and really grateful that to Jeff for taking that off of Glenn's plate earlier on and doing that every week. And then as we acknowledge Michael and Stu for their wonderful, being our wonderful song leaders and songsters and creative music that kept us entertained. Our Spur publishers, Kathy Coyle and Don Wentz, took turns publishing the Spur, so that if you forgot what somebody said during the meeting or you weren't able to attend, you always had the opportunity to read back in the Spur that what occurred. But that could never happen unless we had Spur reporters. So Bob Jacobs had the role of rounding up all Spur reporters and soliciting volunteers for that. And thank you to every club member who's taken a turn, and more than one turn, for all of being Spur reporter. Kathy Streeter stepped in for Barbara Hickman to coordinate the thought for the day. I think that's one of the highlights of this club's meetings, is like Paul gave today, a very philosophical and personal thought for the day. We always get to hear, we've never had a bad thought for the day. And I think that they're always inspirational. And as we recognized Marianne and Barbara Hickman for our club grants and the amount of money that we were able to give, those meetings that we've had to be able to invite the recipients is always an inspirational meeting. Pat Coyle coordinated our global grants. As I mentioned before, not only our Area 4 global grant, but others, and he's continuing to work with other Rotarians in Area 4 to know what we're going to continue to do. So thank you, Pat, and how we can have our money go farther and support people in need around the world. Paul Thompson, really glad to hear today that he was able to give a shout out for more donations to support the efforts in Nepal, and that's needed to shift this year in response to COVID-19, as everything else has. So thank you very much, Paul, for keeping that program going forward for our group. Bill Nebo and Jackie Williams Cartwright for continuing with Interact for all of the students. I think that I was really glad I wasn't a high school student or a college student or a parent of an elementary school student during this past year. They really, students were very resilient, but they needed adults to help them and guide them as they were able to adapt to this world, this changing world as well. Loretta Caskey was able to coordinate so that we could have students attend RILA, even if virtually this year, but we were still able to move forward with that. So thank you, Loretta. Bob Cowan, as we already acknowledged, just for the efforts of Ready and everybody on the Ready team and all of the Ready mentors this year. I think another signature program for our club are our music scholarships. So really tip of the hat to Linda Tinney and Beth Wilson for continuing to make that happen this year, and the challenges of doing that in 100% remote environment. I think that was a wonderful program where we were able to see some of the performances from those talented local musicians. Our community is very fortunate to place such a high priority on on music and music performance and what music brings to all of us, and the advantages that we all have of being able to see live performances and support budding musicians. TJ, for a new member orientation, we did have a few new members this year that went through orientation, so we're glad we were able to do that, continue with moving forward. Paul Schmid for the rodeo parade. We had our virtual rodeo parade, but Paul did the outreach to all of our past participants. And I know that he's already to gear up for next year. I think Paul was a little doubtful that we could actually pull off a virtual parade, but we did it. We didn't really know what it was going to be, but we look forward to having our parade next year. We also look forward to inviting our grand marshals from 2020 and 2021 to join our 2022 grand marshal. So it's going to be a packed parade there. And recall that that is Keith Anderson from 2020, or from 2019. I got my years, I can't even keep straight of the years now, but they'll be able to be in the parade. Unfortunately, John Gordon won't be able to be in the rodeo parade. And then our community service recipients as well. So we'll invite Access Community Health to be in the parade next year as well. Kathy Coyle took care of our website and public relations, and served as our youth protection officer. So our membership committee, some of you may have been contacted by our membership committee members, and then also our membership committee members reached out to club members who we haven't seen on Zoom. Zoom isn't for everyone, but I'm grateful for all of you that are here. So thank you very much to Bob, Norma, Loretta, Carol, Debbie, and Irv for serving in that capacity for our club. And then also the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore Board of Directors. So you'll see a number of the same names there. Ted Michaels did a wonderful job serving as president of that board this past year. And the Rotarian Foundation of Livermore was also able to award grants through its annual cycle to all of the applicants this year. And that was able to award more money this year, because we don't want to be sitting on money. We want our money out in the community doing good. So we thank Ted Michaels for his leadership on that board. Pat Coyle, Ken Prine, Mark Roberts, Michael Ferrucci, Carol Garrick, Kimberly Grudel, and Marianne Roja all served on that board along with me. So thank you very much for supporting those efforts as well. And then as team members at the district level, Pat McMiniman is the Rotary Foundation Major Donor Chair. Irv serves as the TRF Paul Harris Society Coordinator, and Kathy Coyle was the District Training Assembly Chair. So we are well represented at the district, and our club members are serving, allowing us to have our club and the infrastructure that allows Rotary to be a successful organization. So as we move forward, we are people of action, and together we're able to empower others. We fight hunger. We mentor in a number of different ways. We promote peace. We save lives, whether that's through our efforts to eradicate polio, and then now all of the support efforts for the medical teams that we give, both within locally to Valley Care and Access Community Health. And together we learn individually, and we help others learn. So I encourage you to think about how you want to be a person of action and how you want to contribute to the club, whether it's financially or it's getting involved in somewhere. There's lots of opportunities to just get the most of your Rotary Club membership by being a person of action. So we will be continuing to meet on Zoom, at least for July and August. And then in September, the plans are that we will be returning to the Robert Livermore Community Center. And I don't know if you can see it on this photo, but right here is 4444. That's because RLCC, as I lovingly call it, is at the address is 4444 East Avenue. We met at the community center when we were the Vagabond Club, moving locations, and we'll be returning there. It'll be a great facility, and it's also a great facility for hybrid meetings. So we will be having, there were a lot of advantages to being on Zoom. People can, if they're working, or they just can't get out of the house that day, or it's a presenter and they're out of town, or they're like Steve Neff and live in Florida, they can still join our meetings. So we will continue to have that feature as part of our meetings. And so we will have hybrid meetings when we return to the community center. And I look forward to when we can all be together again and take a group photo. I thank each and every one of you for being a member of the Rotary Club of Livermore. It's been my privilege and honor to serve as your president, but I couldn't have done it without all of you, and I couldn't have done it without all of the club members that I mentioned earlier. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing a number of you next week at the demotion party, and over the next couple months, getting to see all of you, shake your hands, or at least give you a high five or a fist bump or an elbow bump. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve as your club president this year.
Carolyn, I would like to be the first to congratulate you on a spectacular year and a very challenging one. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you very-
Yay. Hip, hip, hooray.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. I think that was Kathy's.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
But
Carolyn.
it's definitely a team effort. So thank you all for making me look good. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So if I had the gavel, maybe the gavel is in that storage facility that we
It
were
is.
talking about, I would say this concludes another meeting of the Rotary Club of Livermore, the best Rotary Club in the world.